The only people this deal does anything for directly are the Iranian officials who want to continue to jail and execute their people, who hate Israel and seek to wipe the Jewish state and its people from the face of the planet, who want to spread mayhem throughout the Middle East and continue to help Assad slaughter the Syrian people.
You know, I listened to a long list of your objections here about it, but there's no alternative that you or anybody else has proposed as to what you...
I sure have, Secretary Kerry. I have.
That was just part of Florida Senator Marco Rubio giving John Kerry an earful. Many lawmakers just as blunt during that hearing, 4 hours long. A bit earlier today, I spoke with the senator from Florida, who was also a candidate for the Republican nomination about this. Senator Rubio, good morning. Welcome back to America's Newsroom. Watching Secretary Kerry on the Today Show on NBC earlier today, he said a number of things. Part of what he said is this deal is the only way to control Iran's nuclear program. Clearly you disagree based on the testimony of yesterday. What's a better way?
Well, first of all, it doesn't control Iran's nuclear program. It allows them to upgrade the centrifuges that they're going to be using to enrich uranium. It allows them to continue the development of ICBMs, these long-range missiles capable of reaching the United States of America. It gives them, by the admission of the administration, over $50 billion in cash, which they can now use to develop their conventional weapons capabilities, continue to sponsor terrorism and things of this nature. I think a better approach would have been to continue to increase sanctions and to rally our partners to do so, instead of basically undermining that by entering into a negotiation where right up front we gave Iran what they wanted, and that is recognition that they have a right to have a nuclear program in that country, which they have no need for, especially when they're developing long-range rockets. So a better approach would have been to increase U.S. sanctions and try to get our allies around the world to go along.
They're going in the opposite direction, as you know now. He also told Matt Lauer everything is verifiable. He says nuclear material is, quote, not something you can flush down the toilet. In other words, if there is abuse, we'll know about it. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, the places that are going to be monitoring are the declared sites, and I doubt that's where they're going to be doing much of their work. But what about undeclared sites, basically the secret places that Iran has, which they have always had? You know, they had 2 secret facilities over the last 15 years, and neither U.S. nor Israeli intelligence knew about it for years. And under the process that's created now, if we suspect one of those facilities is there, we ask them about it, they can begin to clean it up. Then there's this 24-day long-term arbitration process that we have to go through, another 24 days for them to come in and clean it up. And then ultimately at the end of it, Iran can just decide, we're not going to let you in. And then the world has to make a decision. All right, do we scrap the whole deal, or do we just look the other way? And that's what Iran is banking on, that they can continue to test that system until we finally give up, and the world just says, whatever, you know, we're not going to continue to press them.
And then Tehran buys time. He says as of today, Iran has enough fissile material to make 10 to 12 bombs. Now, we follow this story a lot. I've not heard that number before. Have you?
Well,
is that accurate?
Well, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, but the bottom line is that if Iran wants to develop a weapon like anybody in the world wants to do, eventually they can get to that point. That's not the issue. The issue is what price do we inflict on them for doing it? Obviously, the ultimate price is a military attack that wipes out the facilities where they're producing these things. That's not the ideal outcome, but necessary. That's one that needs to be clearly on the table. But we should be eviscerating their economy even more than we are doing now, because they will not be able to develop a weapon if the price of it is that their economy collapses, and therefore so does on power internally.
We have our first debate 2 weeks from yesterday, Cleveland, Ohio. You will be there.
I will.
This topic will come up, and we are taking a lot of questions from viewers all over the world through Facebook. Don Meyer asked this in Indianapolis. What nation poses the greatest security threat to the United States today?
Well, clearly, the most powerful military in the world that is threatening us is Russia. Between the United States and Russia, we possess over 90% of the nuclear weapons on the planet. And you have a very aggressive Russian leader in Vladimir Putin, who's already shown his willingness to invade his neighbors and to test NATO, who's using incredibly aggressive language regarding the United States and our European allies. And that poses the most serious, significant short-term threat. I think long-term, we have to keep an eye on China its military expansion, its building of artificial islands in the South China Sea, the most important shipping lane in the world. So I'd say right in front of us is Russia, but long term, we also have to be concerned about our ability to defend ourselves against Chinese aggression as well.
I'm going to list that as 1A and 1B then. We'll see you on August 6th. Marco Rubio, thank you, Senator, from Capitol Hill this morning.